A massive chimney collapses here. This is 20 stories up the side of a New York City apartment building. Okay, this collapsed after an explosion this past Wednesday, sending tons of debris plummeting to the ground. Okay, this is in the Bronx, New York, right? The falling bricks buried a sidewalk, landed on the playground of the public housing building, and sent a cloud of dust billowing over the block in the Bronx. But amazingly did not injure anyone. We avoided a major disaster here, said Bronx Borough President Vanessa Gibson. At a news conference, Mayor Eric Adams confirmed no injuries or deaths were reported in the collapse of the chimney, which rose up the side of the building from the boiler room. Authorities learned of an explosion just after 8 a.m. and were trying to determine if there had been a gas leak. The mayor noted that October 1st is typically the day that heating systems are turned on for the season. Let's see if there's any other like updates. Any updates on the Bronx chimney explosion? As I just scroll down here, cleanup and recovery, video shows, and we're going to look at the video right now. So I'm not seeing anything else here. No injuries. Why does the picture like not look real? I don't know. Like, so this is a chimney, I guess, that just goes up the building, and does it operate for each of the individual rooms? I don't know. Is it like a chimney for the whole building in general? I don't know. But I have some stuff I want to show you here. Something right here too is I was looking at just October, putting it here in the Gematrinator calculator, letters, numerical values. Look at October in New York. You get the same numbers mismatched with all the different ciphers there. Check that out. So that's just interesting because sometimes, decoding the trending stories, I like to do things different. Like there's only so many things you can do with decoding. At least with the style that I use. But look at that right there. So October in New York. Now we're in October. Look at that match right there. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, we're going to look at this.
We continue our coverage here of that partial building collapse right there. This is new video showing the moment that shaft there on the side of the Mitchell houses here on Alexander Avenue, it collapsing. You could see it falling from the top. Someone had their phone fixed perfectly, and look at that. Right where all...
Are we just trained? Why does everything not look real now? I don't know. I'm not saying it's not real. It's just, it's like they knew when they brought AI around, it was just going to give everybody a quick thing to say so you don't believe your eyes, right? Oh, AI. Even me as a decoder, you see the powerful influence of manipulation.
We continue our coverage here of that partial building collapse.
And again, it might be real. I'm just saying.
So right there, this is new video showing the moment that shaft there on the side of the Mitchell houses here on Alexander Avenue, it collapsing. You could see it falling from the top. Someone had their phone fixed perfectly, and look at that.
Someone had their phone fixed perfectly.
right where all that smoke and debris, there's actually a playground right there. Luckily, well, we know at least that school was in session. There weren't a lot of people nearby, so we're still trying to figure out exactly if anyone was injured. But we do know at this point no known injuries.
Right. Okay. So check this out. This stuff has to be manipulated somehow, and I'm pretty confident when I say that with this story. So look at building collapse right there, and look on the bottom. That's what I clicked on to get the story. It says Bronx building collapse. So look at building collapse 91 right there in reverse reduction, and on the day leaving 91 days in the year. What would be the chances of that happening? This number always hits with New York, the 9 and the 1 and the 9. Remember, chaos equals 19. That's Eric Adams' birthday, the first day of the ninth month, or 9-1. You see that? And he comments in the story, confirmed no injuries or deaths. Look at how slimy and greasy and shady this mayor looks. He just looks like a shady, slimy, scripted character, right? Of course, he comments here, nobody injured, no deaths reported. Look at how that's by the numbers, man. And of course, always remember, never forget 911 with the 911 vibes, kind of, right? 911 vibes. And of course 911 is like 91, and then you could stack on top of that 911 for emergency. So look at this, because a massive brick chimney running 20 stories, right, collapses after an explosion 20 days after the 9/11 anniversary. Are you serious? 9/11, 9 plus 11 is 20. 20 is like 2, like twins, right? Remember, twins equals 22. You even get 20-date numerology on this explosion that they're saying maybe a gas leak. What's up with that? And this is the first day of October with this and I showed you October in New York with that match by the language. Even this character, we avoided a major disaster here, said Bronx Borough President Vanessa Gibson at a news conference. Look at her March 19 birthday. She's born on the 19th. There's that 19 again. 3 plus 19, March 19 to be exact. 3 plus 19 is 22. Again, Bronx building collapse. B is the second letter of the alphabet. BB 22. I said twins equals 22, and I'm showing you right there. I'm not giving my opinion. You could say my opinion is, oh, he thinks the stuff is scripted. Where is he getting that information? We got to shadow ban him. Everything else here is a fact. I'm showing the facts. Take out my opinion on, the world's fake. The stuff is scripted somehow. Okay, take out my opinion on it's scripted, it's a fake world. All this stuff is facts that I'm showing you here. It even says tower, which they've changed. It says tower with the original article. See that? Tower. Like twin towers, right? Now look, when we look at the article now, look, tower's not there. Right? You see that? So look at, I brought up the 9/11, and you always get that 1991 with New York. Look at this like numerology and stuff here. You see nines and you see 11s. That's the 9/11 anniversary we just had. And this is the day of this chimney explosion, you know, and as they say, a tower, right? Like how what did they say? I think they said, did they say like public housing or something? Whatever. But look at these nines and these 11s, right? We hit on the 91, 19. 10 plus 1, October 1 is 11. To go with that 11 numerology up top with the single digits. You even get that 9 numerology. Remember, September 11, the 11th state is New York. That 9/11 anniversary, well, even the anniversary, but look at that, 111 days remain on that day, on the 11th. So you get all of this 911 emergency stuff here. And I mentioned earlier with that complete match with New York and October, as this is the first day of October that this happened. New York equals 78, and this like Bronx borough president or whatever, Vanessa Gibson. Look at her birthday. Look at her last birthday here, the 78th day of the year. Look how close she was to born in 78 also.
It is 8:54, breaking news out of the Bronx, where there's apparently been a partial building collapse.
All right, we're looking at firefighters right there on top of that building, Skyfox above the area in the Mott Haven section. There are unconfirmed reports of a gas explosion that caused an incinerator shaft to collapse. Can we see this? There we go. You can see the partial collapse right there. Yeah. No reported injuries, thank goodness, so far, but it looks like
the entire elevator shaft appears to be gone.
I know.
That shot.
That is like unusual to see that.
Hopefully no one was on the elevator.
Right. Okay. We are keeping an eye on this throughout.
Would the whole thing just crumble perfectly like that? 9/11 vibes, huh? 9/11 vibes. The whole thing just. So, I mean, that's interesting. Look at that again right there. It's like perfect. It's like a cutout, huh? It's like a cutout right there. Bronx. So let me see what else is in the article here. Anything of relevance. The mound of debris was littered with air conditioners, which appeared to have been ripped out of apartment windows by the falling bricks. News helicopter footage showed a rescue dog bounding over the huge pile of bricks at the bottom of the building. Look at it. Doesn't that look familiar? Look at the fire department there. Remember they had with 9/11 it was all NYPD. Remember they were all heroes, the fire department. Those images look the same. See, look, right here. Remember that? You know what I mean? So that's interesting. Something else with October, New York right here. I don't know, it just makes me think of the Yankees and their success in October. The Yankees have historically enjoyed significant success in October, but recent years mixed results. That's just interesting. So I may start like doing some videos like that. Like, oh, now we're in October, like 78, 33, 111, 39, and maybe do something like that. You know what I mean? Upcoming, see November. That could be interesting, huh? That could be interesting, something like that. So, okay, I mean, that was pretty simple. I feel pretty good about doing that. That doesn't feel like work to me whatsoever. It's this, or it's, I like to, on a personal level, I like to go outside and play basketball, take walks. That makes me feel good, right? A little bit of, I like Facebook because of like marketplace is interesting. I like marketplace. Um but all of the other stuff is brain rot. I'll scroll a little bit on Facebook because there's some interesting information that pops up. I'll scroll a little bit, and I'll kind of like scroll on YouTube. Not everything is decoding, but a big majority of it's going to be decoding stuff, right? Uh, but this is always going to be like fun for me, and I'd rather do this than kind of the brain rot scrolling and stuff. So, as long as I can do this, I'll probably do it. Maybe just try to balance everything a little bit more, cuz I mean, I do this all the time, right? Or try to think of more simple ways to, they shut down the live stream. The live streams are pointless unless you're like a sellout, really. My last live, I couldn't, there was no volume on my live stream on several devices, so I couldn't even speak and be heard. It's just everything's online and everything's controlled online. You think that your word is getting out, and everybody falls for it. They want to be like the next celebrity, right? Well, think about TikTok, YouTube, online. This is like your new celebrities. As you see, like the regular celebrities that we're all used to, they're all like, nobody respects them. They're all crumbling now. Okay, right? Because everything's shifted to like YouTube, Instagram, all of these characters. They want us to think that we can be them, just like it was with think about the people who died recently: Hulk Hogan, Ozzy Osbourne, legends. So it's like a new time, and it's like manipulation. They want us to think that we can become stars, and who are the new stars? Like I said, these characters like I Show Speed, these like gamer YouTubers, Instagram models, and you know what I'm saying? So just as the agenda continues, but just flips more so to online, and they want us all to think we're celebrities. So you get all of this brain rot now. You even get everybody's a truther now, and truther, that term is played out, right? But not many people can actually put together a decode that's undeniable. I like to think that I'm one of those people. But, that's a little basic semi rant for today. Residents of a NYC public housing tower. Boom. Oh, so they still got tower. They still got tower in the article, I guess, right there. Okay. I thought they took tower out of it. But yeah, they got to have that word tower with New York. But, anyways, they say unharmed after a massive chimney collapses. Okay. Until next time.